Coming to you from 8122 Production Studios in the heart of the 607, this is Horror Zone 607. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And remember, you can always join the conversation using hashtag HZ607. Welcome to Horror Zone 607. I am your host, Mike C., back at it this week with all the biggest horror news and stories. But before we get into all of that, please help me welcome a couple of my friends and co-hosts. First, it was recently announced that comedian Chris Rock will be producing and reimagining a story of his life. Everybody welcome Rich.
Oh, that's right. My life is definitely a horror story at times. I can tell you that much.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Well, thank you.
And your life story. And, of course, he is the owner of 8122 Production Studios. Everybody put your hands together and welcome Ron.
Well, it's happening.
All right. So, kind of a little precursor to the biggest news of the week here. It was announced last week that Saw is being quote-unquote reimagined, whatever that means. Sounds like a remake, not sure. But bigger story with it is that Chris Rock is going to be executive producing, and this whole thing's coming from his mind.
Well, the technical term for reimagine means that you're going to do a reboot.
Right.
So it'll look familiar, but at the same time, it will not be the same.
It's not going to be the same series, it doesn't sound like.
Yes. So basically, that's when they reimagine things. We've had a few of those.
Oh,
I mean, we had straight-on remakes, i.e. the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, yes, things were different from the original, but the premise and storyline followed the same as the original when they did the remake.
Right.
So that's not a reimagining. As much as we would have loved to think it was a reimagining, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake was not a reimagining. Yes, they added some new stuff to the story, but at the end of the day, it was the same story.
Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to think of like a really good reimagining in horror. I don't think we've really had too many reimaginings in horror. Usually it's in action movies and so on and so forth. I.e., actually, if we count Ghostbusters,
yeah,
the one with all the females, that's technically a reimagining because the story wasn't the exact same. They had a whole different premise to how they got there. Plus, it was all women instead of men.
Right.
So that's a reimagining. Yeah. For the listeners out there and for Mike.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm trying to help out.
Yeah, and you're great at that. That's why we have you here, among other things.
But
what do you think of Chris Rock though being involved? I mean, it's Chris Rock.
I'm excited to see what goes on. Chris Rock's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was into horror movies, but then again,
I didn't either.
Then again, I didn't know Jordan Peele was either until Get Out, and I think that's gone to a nice little avenue for us to have a great horror director. So maybe there is something with comedians being into horror.
Yeah, I mean that's my biggest concern is now is every comedian going to get involved in the horror genre and start remaking things and reimagining things?
I don't think so. I think it's only certain people who probably have the mind for it. Chris Rock's a very creative guy. He's done a lot of things. You got to remember, a lot of things that he touches turns to gold. I mean, he's over time, things that he's done in the back and you might not even know he was involved in have been very successful. Mm-hmm. So I feel like because he's a hard worker, because he's a guy who is a go-getter and is going to put something out there, yeah, I think it'll be fine. I don't know what they're going to do reimagine-wise. I don't know where you go. I would assume that you would still keep some of the premise, i.e. you would keep, he gets bad people and puts them in situations. I don't think you get rid of that part of the story, mm-hmm. but maybe some of the convolutedness of the backstory. Because let's be honest, I enjoyed the Saw movies for what they were, but the story got way convoluted. Yeah. Way. Like, it was nice to see a little twist in the first two movies. That was fine. But then it just kept going down this rope where, how does that make sense now if this is what happened? Yeah. And how does that make sense because this happened? But you're telling me it makes sense, but it doesn't make any damn sense. It was just a weird way to jigsaw, if you will.
Piece it together. Yeah, I don't know. I was a big fan of the series, at least up until the Saw, the final chapter, whatever, Saw 7, and then Jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
They weren't great. I thought the first 6 movies were pretty darn good. The one thing I'll say about this that's got me excited is Darren Lynn Bousman is actually going to be directing it. He directed parts 2, 3, and 4. I think most people, a lot of people anyway, consider 3 to be their favorite. 4 is my favorite, personally. I thought it had the best twist on it and had the best story. Caught me totally by surprise. So.
I'd probably go with 3. I like 3 the best, probably.
Yeah.
2 is also, believe it or not, 2 is actually,
like 2 a lot more.
I was going to say 2 is underrated.
Yeah,
I think
2
a lot
is
of people
highly
are underrated.
It started off with he's in a safe place.
Right.
And then the twist is he's in the safe behind you.
Right.
The whole entire time. Like, that was just nuts.
Not to mention that had some of the greatest, most brutal tricks in
Yeah.
it. Like, i.e. the razor blade box. Then the behind the eye, when he convinces it's behind his eye.
The oven that the one guy ends up in. How about the pit of
the hypodermic needles?
Yeah.
That one was pretty brutal. I mean, they were all brutal, but that one...
Send the junkie.
It is underrated. That one was probably... Again, take 7 and Jigsaw out of it. I always kind of thought the second one was the most boring one, but thinking about it when you guys talk about it, it makes me...
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I'll go back and watch it again.
Maybe I think it's probably because it was
years.
drawn out. Actually, that was one of the more cerebral ones. Because then you weren't expecting anything. You didn't
It was so
expect
different
that
from the
ending.
first one, too, that I don't know. Maybe just because it took me by surprise at the time.
The only difference is instead of being in one room, it was in just a house.
It was a whole house and there was a lot more people involved in it.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah, and they all kind of were the same. They all had that...
when you get to 3, 4, everybody, they're traveling outside. They're going here.
Yeah, it does get a little bit out there. Like I said, I would assume that they're going to fix the convolutedness, and that's about it. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Once again, we're in the new golden age of horror. I do believe everybody's we're gonna be very busy on this podcast.
Yeah, we are
in the near future. So
it's good for us.
Oh,
good
absolutely.
For business. So next thing is Brightburn. The big superhero / horror movie is coming out this Friday.
And I will be going to see it this Friday.
Yeah, I actually planned on it, and I have got a Binghamton Rumble Ponies, which is our local AA baseball affiliate here of the New York Mets. I have to go to a game that I was already...
Star Wars night.
I was already forced to go to.
Is it Star Wars night?
Star Wars night.
I'm gonna miss going down there this weekend because I'll be in Six Flags Great Adventure because they're doing a whole Comic-Con in the park thing. So I'll be covering that for 3FN and also because I have Monday off. So might as well spend 2 days down there because I have memberships. But I'm gonna miss the Binghamton Speedies taking the field instead of the Rumble Ponies.
Oh, is that this weekend?
Yeah, it's the Speedies and the pork rolls.
What night is that or day?
That is Sunday.
I'm gonna miss that one.
Yeah, it's the Binghamton Speedy, or no, is it Sunday or Saturday? One of the days, but it's the Binghamton Speedies against the Trenton Pork Rolls. And of course, the Trenton Thunder.
Why couldn't that be Friday night?
So, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've got that on Friday night, and I'm going out of town early on Saturday morning to my brother's who lives a couple hours away, so it's gonna be tough to get to see it this weekend, but I'm gonna try.
My only night to do it is Friday, and I'm taking Diesel with me.
Nice,
and that's gonna be interesting.
Well,
he's scared.
Early reviews of it, I kind of was just like, this is gonna be more of an action superhero movie with a dark tone to it. No, Bloody Disgusting actually put out the review of it today. Gave it 3.5 out of 5 skulls, I believe is how they do their thing.
Skulls.
And they said it is a slasher movie with superhero elements. I mean, they said it's brutal and that it is gory and it is disgusting.
I'm sure you didn't watch the last trailer because you hate watching trailers.
I try not to watch them past whatever the first one is because I don't want it to give away anything more.
Man. Oh, it doesn't give away anything more. But
you told me. You told us about it.
No. That's a different. There was another one. That was the Red Band Scene trailer. There is a new trailer out there if you guys haven't seen it. And it's a lot of stuff that you saw before, but it looks like a horror movie in the scene and in the last trailer. There's only one thing that's new in it, and once again, I'm not going to spoil that. Go out and watch it. Go to YouTube and check that out because trust me, it's worth a watch. Ron saw it as well, and it's amazing. I didn't feel horror movie until the last trailer. I'm like, it's definitely a horror movie. Before it was like, it's a dark comic book movie.
Yeah.
No. It's a horror movie that has comic book elements in it.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to be surprised. And I also go back to, and I've said this a couple times, somebody reached out to me. I put something on our Twitter page, and somebody reached out to me who does screenings. And it was a screener, and it was screened this film, and said, when I said I was excited to see it, they were like, oh, trust me. If you're excited now, wait till you see it. It will not disappoint you.
Yeah.
Because that was coming from somebody. They want to spoil it for me, thankfully, because I don't want to spoil. But they told me that my anticipation is worthwhile.
Great.
So that's always a good thing to hear,
yeah.
Especially for fans of the horror world. So
awesome. I'm very excited to see it. I have a feeling there's no way this is going to disappoint. And up to this point, some of the movies that have come out have been kind of so-so. But this one, I have a good feeling about.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's Child's Play is coming out in a couple weeks, as is Annabelle Comes Home.
I'm bigger on Child's Play now. I was all out in the beginning, and now I'm kind of like, I want to see this movie.
The last trailer that came out about it, it showed Chucky more, and you heard his voice more, and I was
I just like the posters they keep putting out. It's all the
against Toy Story
dolls are getting beat or being dismembered, and
they have like the slinky dog on a skewer, over a fire.
Woody's getting freaking dragged.
Yeah, when you're coming out on the same day as Toy Story 4, might as well do that.
Well, here's hoping they don't make a mistake like they did with whatever
Curse of La.
Showing Curse of La Llorona in a kids movie, whatever one it was. Let's hope that doesn't happen that weekend,
or let's hope it does.
They mismarked the theaters, and there's going to be a lot of upset people.
Hey, listen, it's good for news, so let's hope it does. I would love to report on that.
You are sadistic.
Hey, listen, we run news here, okay? I can't help that sometimes you want news to happen.
Right. Once again, it's good for us.
The one time that happened to me was back, I forget which, I think it was Iron Man 1, and it was a kid's movie beforehand, and like as soon as the trailers were going, you knew it wasn't the right set of trailers for this movie. So, you walk out, you're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden, as soon as the movie starts, here comes everybody out. Because it's like, you knew it wasn't the right movie.
Right.
Like, from the trailers if it's going to be the right movie.
If it's going to be right. Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
Next piece of business. We've been reporting, and it's been said that they're going to be making a Collector 3, another sequel to The Collector. The name has finally been announced. It will be called, drumroll, The Collected.
Sorry, we didn't have a drum.
We have no drum roll.
Maybe in the future.
In the future, we don't have the technology.
We got some big news coming, so maybe that'd be part of it.
Yeah.
But, yes, I am very excited because I'm a huge fan of the Collector series.
So am I.
I love the Collector. I love the Collected. Well, the Collection. And I'm pretty sure I will love the Collected as well. I think it's a very underrated movie. A lot of people out there don't crap on it and don't give it the praise I think it should get. That is a brutal movie in an era where slasher films were not around, and that is pretty much a straight slasher film.
Yeah.
You go back and you watch the Collector in its own, and even then into the Collection. The Collection did adopt a little bit from Saw with the
I thought so too.
In the building,
which is ironic because that's the Collector. I believe was supposed to be another Saw sequel or something, or a prequel or something, and it morphed into what it became.
Morphed into what is different, but it's still a slasher through and through.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, the way you ended that, there was no way that it was over. So it's kind of like waiting, and finally it paid off, and we're finally getting it. And like I said, I'm super stoked to see it. If you guys haven't seen it, or if you saw it a long time ago and for some reason just dismissed it, I urge you to watch them again. The Collector especially, because that one is the better of the two, but the Collection is actually really good as well.
Yeah, I was impressed by it. I thought it was going to be terrible, and I liked it.
Hey, it builds suspense. It's a stalking, slashing killer, and he uses different mythologies, which is, I love it. I mean, one of my personal favorite scenes in spoiler, if you guys haven't seen it, but it should get you to watch it, is in the first one. Somebody meets their demise via bear traps.
Yep.
Via bear traps. And not bear trap, bear traps.
Plural.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you get to see, for Mike's purposes, you get to see a naked girl.
Oh,
right before that happens.
Yes.
And fun fact, that was the youngest daughter on the Nanny show.
Yes,
to make you feel old.
Yeah.
And we also got to see her topless in Californication as well when she was banging David Duchovny on that show.
That did happen. I saw that too.
So, little fun fact there for everybody.
Yeah, it's a good thing she's making something of her life.
Hey, listen, as long as you're getting work and it's not in the valley, you're all right.
So who doesn't like a little bit of Ghostbusters news when we get it? There's a couple of little pieces of news that came out, both involving Dan Aykroyd. First of all, it was announced that he has written a Ghostbusters prequel that he's calling Ghostbusters High.
Wait a minute, is that Ghostbusters High or Ghostbusters Get High?
It could be either or.
Cheech and Chong could be in this movie.
Could be.
I'm starting to book some stuff.
Yeah,
this would be great.
It very well could be, for all I know.
It's Up in Smoke meets Ghostbusters.
Yes,
I feel like that's the only way you're going to see some ghosts, but it'd be amazing.
Well, there's no word on if it's ever going to be made or not, but
the ending for that movie could be the greatest twist of all time. If you think about it, everybody was so stoned they thought they saw a ghost and they thought they were fighting things with like proton packs. Turns out it's just brooms and dustpans and stuff that they think are different things. It'd be great
with Cheech and Chong.
Well, you have to have Cheech and Chong.
Well, of course. It probably
and maybe even Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, maybe him in there. You might be onto something.
Chris Tucker. reprising his
Chris
role as
Tucker.
Smokey in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're onto something.
You could be onto something.
I think we need to pitch this, but continue on with the news. Sorry, I just want to make that entertaining. It just came into my head.
That's about the only thing entertaining that I can think of with this, because I don't know how I feel about it. It kind of feels like it's going to be like Dumb and Dumber, whatever the second one was that was the prequel.
Here's my
That's what
problem.
my fear would be.
When Harry met Lloyd.
Yeah, that one.
Here's my problem with it. There can't really be a prequel because we saw how the Ghostbusters were formed. It's not like the Ghostbusters were around prior to the Ghostbusters movie, because you see where they formed themselves. So the only thing you could do is like them doing paranormal investigations prior.
Right.
But it wouldn't be catching and trapping ghosts. There would be no Slimer. And they wouldn't see a ghost. And here's how you know they didn't see a ghost, because they never saw a ghost until they go to the library.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's the first time he sees a ghost, because he freaks out about it. It's a spirit. He's like freaking out about it. They've never seen one. So how could you do a prequel where they're seeing ghosts and stuff if the first time you saw a ghost was in the original movie?
Excellent
I'm just
point.
throwing it out there. Unless you're doing a whole nother universe, or unless you're trying to say that didn't exist.
Right.
Which is
And maybe that's the case. Maybe it's going to be a whole new group of people or something.
not to
Who
mention,
knows?
they weren't even really doing paranormal investigation in the beginning of that movie.
I know
'cause
Ray and Egon were buddies at Columbia.
They were buddies, but they were doing studies.
Science,
They were
yeah.
doing what's the emotional studies and stuff.
Yeah.
Because remember that continues.
That's right.
That continues into the second one. 'Cause
Yeah.
Remember, give her the puppy. Not take the puppy away.
Right.
Like it's seductive, but that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And even then they were doing behavioral studies. Sorry, I'm sorry I misspoke there. But yeah, they were doing behavioral studies, but they were doing that in the first one too, because remember the meters that Egon was using just so happened to pick up other things. Like that's not what they were originally made
Right.
for. So then they discovered that they could use them for the other and get a cash grab out of it.
Right.
But that's funny. And then the only
Something
person
tells me
who was doing paranormal was Dr. Vakeman, because remember he was doing the psychic studies in the basement,
Right.
And he was just zapping the
He was
one dude,
zapping the one guy.
and the girl was getting all of them right, just because he was like, well, what do you want to do after?
It's a man after my own heart.
I think that would be written for you. Perfect.
Yeah.
You would fit right in.
Well, Dan Aykroyd also announced that Ghostbusters 3, a little bit of news about this since there hasn't been a whole lot that's been coming out lately. Great news. He is promising that they're going to use more mechanicals and puppets than CGI where they're able to.
Awesome. I'm all
That's
about
great
that.
news.
I'm all about that.
I mean, that's straight out of the mid 80s, early 80s.
Absolutely.
So I'm all about that. That's good. So a couple more pieces of news here before we wrap up the first segment here. First trailer for Terminator Dark Fate is going to be hitting this Thursday, which we do the show on Wednesday, so it'll be tomorrow, but it'll be today when you guys listen to the show.
Yeah.
We'll have it posted on Facebook and on Twitter, and it's also going to be, I'm sure, on all the other horror movie sites that are out there.
Absolutely.
Bloody disgusting.
Yep.
I'm kind of excited to see that. It basically picks up the day after Judgment Day. Scraps everything from the third Terminator movie on. So that's,
Probably the smartest thing they've ever done.
I know, and bringing back Linda Hamilton.
3 wasn't horrible. Rise of the Machines.
No, but that started the lineage where they went off the tracks.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
But it was
Salvation
good.
was.
No, 3 was 3. I enjoyed 3.
Yeah.
But the problem is you have to erase that. It's got to be the casualty, because that's where the split started.
No, I agree.
And you need to get rid of that split, because man, it got out of like. Listen, John Connor being a Terminator.
Yeah, Genesis was horrible.
Yeah.
That was supposed to save everything, and Linda Hamilton's like, yeah, no, never mind.
She's like, I'll come back. I'll come back because we need to save this franchise. Is what needs to happen, and I don't blame her there.
And let's hope that that's what happens. I mean, I'd like to see the series get back on track and make a lot of money, because the last few movies have nearly killed it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
They're lucky they're getting another one. And then the last thing I have, as you guys know, we love to promote fan films. And Friday the 13th news, since there isn't any, there is yet. What has this got to be? I think about the 300th Friday the 13th fan film that we've been talking about.
Easily.
So there's a trailer that's going to be up. I'll try to get it up on our Facebook page and also on Twitter later tonight. But it's on Bloody Disgusting right now. There's one that's called Jason Rising. It has an awesome looking trailer. Looks really cool, but they're looking for fan funding, as fan films tend to need. It's going to be funded on Indiegogo. So you can go there if you want to donate. They need $20,000 to reach their goal, and they are currently at. The article said they're currently at about 50%. I'm assuming that means they've raised about $10,000. I don't know if that means they need another 20. I don't know.
I'll have to check in to see what the stretch things are. Get my names in the credits.
You should. So,
But,
yeah, that's all the news I've got. You guys have anything to add?
Yeah, the breaking news right when we came into the studio, Shudder has renewed The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. If you guys have not been checking that out, first of all, check out Shudder. It's actually really good, and if you're a horror fan, you should. There's a lot of original content on there. Also, they do a really good job about putting a lot of like older horror stuff on there as well. But they had just started doing a show with Joe Bob Briggs. If you guys remember back in the day, he used to do, what was it, Monster Vision?
Yes.
But now it's called The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. It's super entertaining. It's like D-rated movies, if you will, and him just cutting jokes, and it's really cool. But yes, it's getting renewed. No surprise there, but it's officially renewed, so that's a good thing. Check out Shudder. They don't pay us. I'm gonna throw that out there, but I'm just saying it's just quality, especially if you're a horror fan. And this show alone is quality. And they have a few others, including the Critters show.
Yes.
The Critters show is also on Shudder. So, I've been a big fan of that lately. With that being said, if you guys have anything that you would like to add, and, you know, whether it's something we said or something we didn't say, or you just want to just say hi to us, because we love it when you say hi, you can hit us up on Facebook, Horror Zone 607, on Twitter and Instagram, at Horror Zone 607. Always use the hashtag HC607 when you're talking about the show. And also, do us one favor. If you already like the Horror Zone 607 page on Facebook, do us a favor. How about could you rate and review that for us? Because that'd be awesome. And also, please share that so we can help grow, because that'd be awesome, guys. Also, visit 8122productions.com for all your Horror Zone reviews and other stuff. And there's a lot of stuff coming out. I just can't talk about them this week, but you guys will know soon enough.
And don't forget, we're now on YouTube.
Oh, that's right. We are. Right now, we're on YouTube. Currently, we have one channel. We'll see where that goes. But 8122 Productions is the name of the channel on YouTube. Last week's Horror Zone episode is up on there. This week's Horror Zone episode will be up on there. I don't know if I'm going to break it apart or keep it all together, because a lot of times attention span is small, so I might break it into smaller pieces. It's also easier to put up. But either way, that'll be up there, and there'll be some other really cool stuff coming to you in the future. So check that out as well.
All right. Sounds great. All right, so we're going to take our first break.
Welcome back to the Zone, and it's time to talk a little bit of horror here. And let me set the mood, if you will. I'm going to be a mood setter today. So this past week, our very own Mike C. here had the opportunity to go to Blairstown, New Jersey, and to tour the camp where they shot the original Friday the 13th. So I'm going to kind of do a little Q&A with him. Guys, get you guys some information. Hopefully I ask the race questions, and I'm sure he'll expand on it anyways, because I'm sure he saw a lot of cool things. So Mike, tell us how you came into this trip.
So this is my second trip there, as I've talked about on the show before. First time was one of the best days I ever had in my life. I never expected to get back. If you want to take a tour, you want to go to crystallaketours.com, to their website. They're the people that run the tours, and they don't even know if they're ever going to be doing another one again. It just kind of gets announced out of nowhere on a whim. They have to do it around the schedule of the Boy Scouts that use Camp Nobi Bosco, which is the camp that was used to film Friday the 13th. Real working camp, and it hasn't changed much since they filmed it. I have tried to re-register, and it won't let you. So I've tried to put, I've moved since the last time I did. I tried to put my new address in. It recognized my phone number. I tried to put other things in. I tried to create a new email address, all these different things. They wouldn't let me redo it. So I was like, okay, well, that's it. They want you to do one and done. Well, somebody, luckily, posted, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, on Facebook that somebody had canceled their tickets, and a couple of tickets became available, and that they were going to be auctioned off on eBay. So I happened to actually get done recording our show. As you guys have heard us say in the past, we record on Wednesdays. I got home. Show ran a little bit later than usual. Got home. I happened to check it, and there was about 15 minutes left or 10 minutes left or something like that until the bid was going to be ending. Nobody had bid on it at that point, and there was only a couple of people watching it. So with about maybe 15 seconds left, 10 seconds left, I saw it popped up that somebody had bid. Starting bid was $170. Somebody bid, couldn't tell what it was. I put a max bid in a 200, hoping nobody else would outbid me. I got it in with 5 seconds left, and congratulations, you won. Paid $172 for it because the other person must have only bid $171.
Yeah,
so that's how I came across. I was the only person at this tour that actually got to do it a second time, according to the people that run it, because I got talking with them while I was there. So, like, everybody there was supposed to be a first timer. I was like, yeah, not so much.
Yeah, geez, look at that. Look at you, you little sneaking into the system.
Yeah.
Brother. So take us through what they do. You know, obviously you show up, and then how does it kind of progress?
So, yeah, when I got there pretty early in the morning. My tour started at 9, and it was maybe like 7:30 when I got into New Jersey. So the town of Blairstown is actually where the scenes that were early on in the film took place. The opening scene takes place at the camp in like 1950 something or other. I can't remember what year because I'm not watching it at the moment. But after that, it shows the counselor Annie, who's the first victim in the movie. Well, technically the third victim in the movie. She's walking through town on her way to camp. That takes place in Blairstown. And I kind of went there. I was hanging out where they film where she's walking across a little bridge right before she goes into the little archways. I was just hanging out there. It's beautiful there. Absolutely beautiful. There's a waterfall right behind where they were recording that. And like a bridge up above it you can walk on and stuff. And it was just beautiful. And I happened to meet a guy. He was going to be going to a tour later in the day because I had a second one later in the day. And it turns out this guy actually has become friends with Jamie Lee Curtis and Whoopi Goldberg. I believe his name was Joseph Scott, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to try to find him on Facebook, but he was from Los Angeles, and he was there alone like I was, and he was just trying to take it all in. And it turns out he was a victim when he was a kid, like 30 years ago. He went outside his house, and there was some guy in a mask with a knife that was trying to stab him. And he told me that all he could think of is, what would Laurie Strode do? So he ran away, ran to a neighbor's house, told them, waited there until the cops came, and it turned into this whole big to-do. He said that fast forward to some Comic-Con recently, I'm guessing it was a San Diego one or something, I didn't find that out, but he was there and Jamie Lee Curtis was there, and she was talking about the Halloween movie and women's empowerment and how women come up to her all the time and talk about when men attack them, and he was just like, well, you know what? It's not just women, men too, because this happened to me. And he said at first she kind of like gave him this weird look like, whatever, you know, what are you talking about? But he ended up telling the story, and he says that she comes off a stage, gives him a big hug, took his phone number from him, stayed in touch. And I'm thinking at this point, okay, this guy's full of it. You know, whatever. There's no way this really happened. So what does he do? He tells me that she ends up calling. Actually, he gets a phone call from a number he doesn't know, and he answers it. And this person says, hey, this is Whoopi Goldberg. And he was like, yeah, right. And Jamie Lee Curtis gets on the phone and says, hey, this is Jamie Lee. You know, you gave me your number and this and that. And he's like, okay, whatever. Still thinking he's full of it. So what does he do? He pulls out the clips of this stuff happening he has recorded. They were on The View when they called him live from The View. And he's got pictures of it. He's got recordings of it. And I believe that the reason he was here is they were flying him in. They got him into the tour. And somehow he was like the only person that didn't have a ticket, and he was like one of the invited people for this thing to tell his story. But they flew him in to be on The View, so he was a guest on The View. Wow, and as he was coming here, he was actually stopping coast to coast because, again, he's from L.A. He was stopping, going coast to coast on his way here, stopping at all kinds of different horror movie sites and where real things happen and this and that. He had all these pictures and like little stories about this happened here and this happened here, and it was amazing. It was fascinating, and I quickly realized this guy was telling me the truth. This was all real, and fascinating guy, nice guy. And he said he'd like to be on the show. He said, just look me up on Facebook. Here's my name and this and that, but I'm having a hard time finding him. So I'm hoping I can catch up and get him on here because he wants to call in and he wants to tell his story.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
So that's how the day started. This is from like 7:30 till like 8:15. I'm talking with him in Blairstown, right where Annie's walking around in the opening scenes of this movie. But I politely had to leave him and drove to the camp. You drive along. It's way up in the hills. It's actually in a town called Hardwick Township. It's probably maybe like a 15-20 minute drive up through these hills and stuff, and a lot of that was used in the film as well, like where Kevin Bacon and the others are driving in and this and that. So you actually see a lot of things, as they were driving. Get to the camp, they check you in, and they put you in their mess hall, which is actually an outdoor pavilion. It's covered, but it's a pavilion, and it's actually where the very first scene takes place, where the camp counselors in 1950 whatever are sitting in front of a fire singing Kumbaya and whatnot using moving magic. They made it look like it was filmed in the quote-unquote main cabin that a lot of the movie takes place in, but it's actually in this mess hall, and it's a cool little place. It's the biggest mess hall of its type on the East Coast or something like that, they said, or this side of the Mississippi.
Yeah,
so,
that's pretty cool.
So they kind of start you there, and they break you up into little groups depending on what table you're sitting at, and there's 9 different filming locations at the camp, and they kind of
usher you through the 9.
They usher you through the 9.
And depending upon which group you're in is which one you see first and which one you see last.
Exactly. And I was a little bit worried being a solo there. I thought I was going to be the only loser there that was by myself. And it turns out that the table I sat at, everybody at this table was solo. So got to be pretty good friends with a lot of these people.
Pretty much everyone at the table was losers.
We're the Losers Club.
The Losers Club. Cheers to that. But no, anyways, that sounds pretty cool. So did you see anything cool this time that you didn't see the first time?
Well, yes and no. The tour itself was pretty much the same. It felt a little bit more rushed than it did the last time. We only got maybe like 5 minutes at each spot, whereas the last time it was probably 10-15 minutes. The groups were bigger, so it was a little bit harder to get pictures and stuff. I was trying to get videos and stuff to put up on our YouTube, and it was very difficult to do. So I've got photos. Maybe we can kind of still them on there.
We can definitely do that.
The first time I went, Adrienne King was there, who was probably about the sweetest person I could ever possibly meet, at least an actress. And not only was she there again this time, and she remembered me. As soon as I walked up to her, she's like, "I have met you before. We were in a canoe together." I was like, "Yes, we were." But as a surprise, the gentleman who played Officer Dorf in the movie, the motorcycle cop that shows down and tells the one guy to sit on it, Tano, you guys smoking this, the reefer, the the ganja. Well, he was there, came out in his full cop uniform. And as the tour went on, we went into Price Lodge, which normally is just a big open lodge, but in the movie they dressed it up to look like it was the bathroom, where like the bathroom stalls were and where the shower was and where Marcy gets the axe in the head. This time they actually dressed it up and put props. I don't believe they were ones that were used in the movie, but they looked just like it. Kind of set it up exactly as it was in the movie so you could get the feel of it. They said it was the first time they ever did that. As we're standing there getting ready to go, the shower curtain opens up, and Janine Taylor, who played Marcy in the movie, comes walking out. "Hey, campers!" So actually got to meet 3 celebrities from the movie this time instead of just Adrienne King.
Well, that's pretty sweet. That's really cool stuff. And yeah, send me over those pictures. And it sounds kind of weird, but if you send them to my phone now, as these people hear them, I can put them in this show when it hits YouTube as well, so they can look at the pictures as it goes.
I can do that.
So that works out perfectly well. So if you hear this now, you just heard us make that deal on air. So you've probably been already seeing those pictures. So that's the pictures you're seeing. Right. You're seeing the pictures of Mike at the camp. So how did the day end? What did you do to going into the ending and leaving the camp?
So you gather back in at the pavilion where the opening scene was shot, and they kind of tell everybody, thank you for coming. And every penny that they use for this is all nonprofit. The last time we were there's a scene in the movie early on where Steve Christie and Alice, Adrienne King, are tacking up a gutter. And that cabin doesn't exist anymore. I guess they had to take it down about 20 years ago because they couldn't save it. And they had told me they told us the last time when I was there the first time anyway, that they were using the money to build a new trading post, a new building near where that was. Well, it was up already. Beautiful, huge cabin. And they said it's going to be their new trading post. So they're kind of talking about that a little bit and thanking us for everything. Apparently they're going to try to put together something for people that are alumni now to this thing, to try to have a whole completely separate tour with different kinds of things and get people back. So I might actually be lucky enough to get invited back a third time. Tell us a little bit about that. After that, you just kind of you leave the camp. I went back into Blairstown. Wanted to have lunch at the diner that Steve Christie goes to on one rainy night before he meets his demise in the movie, but that was packed packed. They have an awesome brewery in Blairstown. It's called Buck Hill Brewery. If you do go there, if any of you listeners go there, look it up. Your GPS will take you right to it. They have got amazing beer. They've got some of the best sandwiches you'll ever have. The last time they had a chicken sandwich, it's still the best panini I've ever had in my life. They didn't have that anymore. I got a cheeseburger, one of the best cheeseburgers I've ever had. Very nice people, great food, great prices. So that's kind of how I finished off the day.
Good plug for them. Good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't work for them. They don't even know I'm doing this, but if they hear it, hopefully they appreciate it.
Support them.
Yeah.
What they do. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. I mean, we talked in the past, maybe in September, we might be going down to do some, not the camp part, but to
hang out in Blairstown.
Blairstown, maybe some shooting of that and stuff like that, and that'll be definitely up and in the future. I mean, we could go anytime, but I think it'd be better to do it when everybody's there on a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, there's a lot of cosplay going on, just a ton of people, which there wasn't this time because it wasn't a Friday the 13th. In September, that place is going to be hopping, and the weather will hopefully still be pretty nice.
And I think it's intriguing what you just said, though. I think before probably they were like, "Man, this is a hassle," but yet it's a way to keep people from trying to sneak onto this camp. That's probably why they started doing it. And now they're starting to see that there's a money aspect to it, and not the money because they're greedy, but it's building cool things for them, like a new trading post for a very active, real Boy Scout camp. So I'm assuming that's why they're doing it. I'm assuming
that's exactly why they're doing it.
Now it's like, hey, so I bet you'll see them do it a few more times. They'll probably do it multiple times a year and then have people back, and that's why they probably added the whole scene in the one room to make it a little more special. And I would assume you'll probably see more, so I'm going to definitely try to go to this eventually. Are they friendly on bringing cameras?
Oh, yeah. I had no problem. There was pictures everywhere. Okay. I was taking pictures every chance I got, videos. They don't care. The only thing that they say is please don't take a video of the tour guide. Most of them are just, scouts or former scouts, like older gentlemen that used to be scouts. So they ask that you don't take video of them while they're giving their spiel. But you can take as many pictures of the camp itself that you want.
Okay, right on. That sounds good.
Because they don't want that spiel to get out because it's probably rehearsed. And
I've seen some of that on there. I mean, there was a couple times that I caught them talking and I didn't mean to, and nobody told me don't do it. Yeah. But you did touch on something. There was a lot of people still to this day that try to sneak on the property. They've got cameras set up everywhere, and you will be prosecuted if you go there without a ticket during a tour event. They do make it very clear, we love to have this, we'd love to do this event, but please get the word out there. Tell people not to sneak on here. If they get caught, they're going to ruin it for everybody.
Well, here's the thing: don't sneak there. Instead, wait and show them your interest and show them you want to go. And I'm sure that they'll do more of them, especially if they're going to be able to profit in the extent that they're going to be able to build the camp up nicer.
Yep.
And I'm sure that that's an awesome thing for them, that they know that they can do this now. So you'll probably see it more. And I'm not saying profit, like I said before, it's not profiting. Like, oh man, somebody's walking away, some fat cat's walking away with a lot of money. But I mean, putting up a trading post for kids who are very much going to spend their summer there and have the time of their life at this camp, because that's what it really is. That's awesome. And if you can provide something for that, and even down the road, maybe if they can make more money, maybe they'll give some free stuff to kids to go there and stuff.
Yep.
I'm assuming that that's what they're going to do with your money. So do it the right way, because then there'll be more of it. And then everybody will have a chance to go, and they'll definitely you'll see a difference, and then you can actually feel good about yourself. Not only did you get to see something that was in horror movie history, but you also get to help the youth enjoy a summer away. And that camp is probably popular with the inner city kids, because I'm assuming that a lot of people from New York City probably use that camp. And think about it, New York City doesn't have the woods and the lake and all that stuff,
right.
So that's a cool element on top of that.
Yeah, and I believe they said there's hundreds, if not thousands, of kids that go through it in any summer. They do weekly things, they do weekend things, they have all kinds of stuff that they do, and it's great for those kids. And every penny of this is going back into that camp. I mean, it really is. They're not profiting at all. The whole thing is not non-profit. But I will tell you, being on the sites of those different, the 9 different places, everything still looks the same. Everything looks identical as it did in the movie. A couple things have been changed slightly, like the archery range where Brenda and Ned are kind of hanging out and the arrow gets shot and whatnot. That's changed a little bit because there's a new roof on it and they kind of put in like little benches and stuff, but the main structure itself is still the same. The beach looks identical. The main cabin, I'll tell you what, since they spent so much time in that, it is awesome being in there. I mean, Mrs. Voorhees was standing in that doorway. I propped myself up right where she it's just this place, and she's kind of up against the wall there. I stood there and was kind of like rubbing the wall and stuff, like, Maybe people thought it was a little creepy.
I'm pretty sure they did. But we're glad you did. And once again, the pictures you've seen probably during this segment is the pictures that Mike took there. So enjoy those and definitely check it out. There was Camp Crystal. It was Crystal Lake Tours, you said?
CrystalLakeTours.com.
All right, check them out. See if you can get on the list. And if they do more in the future, that'll be awesome. Or maybe you want to spend money and get on it the other way if you can. So check that out for sure. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this week.
All right.
And so, real quick again, if you want to ask any questions, if you have questions about Camp Crystal Lake that we might not have covered, go ahead or anything else, go ahead and send them in. Facebook, we're Horror Zone 607. Instagram and Twitter, we're at Horror Zone 607. Use the hashtag HD607 to talk about the show. Please share our show. Please rate and review our show. Also, you can find us anywhere podcasts, you get podcasts. Do us a favor there. If you want, subscribe. That helps us out a lot. And also rate and review if they offer that on what you listen on to, because that also helps us a lot. Also, I will say go to 8122productions.com. You can read some of the reviews that are up. I'm sure that there'll be a review eventually for Brightburn up, whether I do it, somebody does it. Somebody will get a review up, or maybe I'll just put it up on YouTube, because once again, we're on YouTube. Currently 8122 Productions on YouTube. That's the channel. Search that up. Check that out. And make sure you subscribe and like the videos there, because this video will be up there. And even if you listen to the podcast, you're probably going to want to tune in to see those pictures. So just skip right in there and look at the pictures of Camp Crystal Lake if you're listening to us. So 8122 Productions is all you have to search. And booyah, it'll be up. Or you can just probably search Horror Zone, because it's one of the things I put in the filter.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's all I got, Mike.
All right. And like Rich said, feel free to ask questions. Ask questions about the camp tour. I love talking about it, and I will get back to each and every one of you if you reach out. So get in touch with me and let me know. But that is our show for this week. I want to thank all of you for listening week in and week out. And we will be back next week to talk more horror, and right here on Horror Zone 607. Have a great week, everybody.